Welcome to the show. You are one-on-one with Wes the Sports Guy here on YouTube and online all the time at westhesportsguy.com. Make sure to subscribe and hit that Liberty Bell button right here on the YouTube page, and also participate in the conversation every week by using the hashtag #OneOnOneWes. Let's get right into it. And first off, let's get into what happened with the NBA trade deadline. We had a few players that were of note that got traded either the day of or a few days before the trade deadline came and went. And also we had one player that did not get traded who had asked for a trade, and that was Anthony Davis, which, looking at it, Anthony Davis is well within his rights to request a trade. Whether or not he gets to where he wants to go eventually is going to be up to the team that he's currently playing for, and that's the New Orleans Pelicans, which they have all the rights to basically hold off until the offseason, and that's exactly what happened. They're not going to trade him until probably the offseason. They're going to continue to play him the rest of this season, which is going to be a little bit strange. And, of course, it already started with him getting boozed by the home crowd of the Pelicans, and not surprised. So it's going to be tough trading for him and the franchise as they look to restart once again after they had Chris Paul many years ago and had to go through that debacle. But again, I digress. Not going to get involved in that right now. Moving on to other names, as you can see, that are breaking down here on the screen. A few big names. First up, Marc Gasol got traded to the Toronto Raptors. That was a very good trade for both teams as Memphis is moving on from one of their powerhouse players that they've had for many years in Marc Gasol, and the Raptors getting a reliable big man in Marc Gasol for the run towards an Eastern Conference playoff, you could say, clinching into the NBA Finals. The franchise has never been in the NBA Finals, and they're well within a good spot right now in the East to be the representative of the Eastern Conference. The Philadelphia 76ers also got Tobias Harris about a day before the trade deadline, and they got him from the Los Angeles Clippers in a very good deal for both teams as well. As you can see, the Clippers kind of are not, I don't want to say they're giving up on the season, but they're definitely planning for the future. And this coming summer to get at least two max guys. And one of the guys they're looking at is to get Kawhi Leonard from the Toronto Raptors right now. But he could stay in Toronto. He could do what Paul George did with Oklahoma last year and stay where he was traded to. Another big trade of note is Kristaps Porzingis being traded from the New York Knicks. And there's really not much else to say. As you can see, the breakdown of the trade with Porzingis, it's the New York Knicks. He wasn't going to be there for much longer, and he wasn't saying all the right things that Knicks management wanted to hear. And Knicks fans, of course, are up in arms, but at the same time, you can't blame the Knicks for getting as much as they can for him, and they got as much as you could for a player of his caliber. Of course, he has not been playing this season due to an ACL injury from last year, and there's no chance he's going to play this year for the Mavericks as the injury is keeping him out. But going forward long-term, that's a great deal for the Mavericks. They're going to have him and Luka Doncic going forward as the nucleus of that franchise for the Dallas Mavericks. And it's a good trade for both sides. But, of course, Knicks fans are up in arms, and they're not too happy about it. Before I move on to the Do You Remember segment, leave a comment on this video about the MLB offseason. Where do you think Bryce Harper, Manny Machado is going to sign before spring training starts? It's only 1 week away before pitchers and catchers start reporting, and players, the hitters, start reporting just after that towards the end of this month, and spring training is going to get started in March. Before you know it, baseball season starts. So leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the MLB offseason and where Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are going to sign. Now time for the segment that won't get snowed in this winter. Do you remember?
You remember?
Do you remember the worst Super Bowl you ever saw? Well, I have one for you, and that's Super Bowl 35 between the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. Reason why I'm pointing this one out to you as the worst Super Bowl I ever saw? It's mainly because, just a little backstory, the New York Giants have a very good offense. The Baltimore Ravens have arguably one of the best defenses of all time going into that game. Leading up to it, the New York Giants had shut out the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game 2 weeks before by the score of 41-0, and they had racked over 500 total yards on offense. Now, going into this game, I had picked the Giants to win the Super Bowl, not in a blowout fashion, mind you, but I had them winning because if any team was going to stymie the Ravens' vaunted defense, it was going to be the New York Giants offense. Sad to say, led by Kerry Collins and Tiki Barber, that offense was a dud. They could not even come close to that 500-yard total yardage output in the NFC Championship game, and the Ravens just made mincemeat of them. As you can see from the breakdown here of that Super Bowl, they only racked up 7 points, and that was due to a kickoff return for a touchdown by the Giants. Yes, only with a kickoff return for a touchdown. That's the only points the Giants could muster in that game. Now, from beginning to end, it was possibly the worst game I ever saw in that kind of fashion, where it was a Super Bowl title game. It was the worst. Why? Because from the very beginning, it was just a one-team show. The Giants did not participate. They really had no reason to. It was not a great showing by them. Now, I swore off the New York Giants after that point because I figured, hey, Kerry Collins is still going to be their quarterback, even though he was kind of at the tail end of his career at this point. But thankfully, the Giants did rebound from that. They did win 2 Super Bowls later on against the New England Patriots both times, and that was with Eli Manning as their quarterback. So, looking back on this one, yes, it's not a very highly talked about Super Bowl, and for good reason. But if you're talking about the Patriots and the Rams this last week as being the worst Super Bowl of all time, I'm sorry. You look at Super Bowl 35 and prove me wrong. Leave a comment at the bottom of this video and tell me why I'm wrong. I assure you I'm not. Just looking at the stats alone, it's not wrong in that instance. But look at the highlights too. Please tell me that this last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 53, was worse than this one. I highly disagree with you on that. Time for my feel-good story of the week. This comes from the Freeport, Texas Police Department.
I promise to be kind to others. I promise to help others when they need help. I promise to help my police family at all times. I now and forever promise to keep fighting the bad fight until all of my cancer is gone. Police Department, Officer Abigail Arias.
And I salute you, Abigail Arias. That is a great thing that being sworn in as a Freeport Police Department officer. And just a quick little backstory about her. She has been diagnosed again with a kidney cancer. I believe it's called a Wilms tumor. It's a common form of kidney cancer in children. She did fight it off once. It has unfortunately come back, and it has now spread to her lungs. So unfortunately, she has been diagnosed as a terminal cancer patient right now, but her family is staying strong. They are asking for lots and lots of prayers going forward, and I do offer my heartfelt thoughts and prayers for you and your family, Abigail. You are fighting the good fight. You are going to get those bad guys, as you call them, in your lungs, and congratulations again for being sworn in as a Freeport police officer. You will do a great job. I know it. And once again, my heart and my prayers absolutely go to you and your family. Keep fighting the good fight, Abigail. Before I leave, here's a quick message for my dad.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Dad. Semper Fi. Hope you have a great day. Today is your birthday. I hope you have a happy one. Make sure you subscribe and hit that Liberty Bell button for all the latest videos here on YouTube for One-on-One with Wes the Sports Guy. I am yours truly. Make sure you use the hashtag One-on-One Wes to participate in the conversations every week. And until then, I will see you next time.